welcome to Rise and Lead, Women's Leadership Perspectives. I am CEO and founder of Diverse Perspectives, and we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of what it takes to be a woman in leadership. Today's topic focuses on motherhood as the first stage of leadership. We all have encountered a woman in our lives that is strong and has shown us the way to lead properly, to take care of those that we are leading, and to make sure that our decisions are not selfish and that they positively impact the communities in which we serve. And that first stage really does start with leadership. I am here today with my mother, Pastor Rhonda Anderson-Johnson, who showed me the way to leadership. I've been in leadership in so many different ways over the years, currently serving in leadership roles, and I can honestly say that I lead the way that I do because of the examples that were set for me growing up. My mother always made it seem easy to lead, even though I know that there were days that it wasn't easy, and I'll give her the opportunity to talk more about that. But just watching her was always such an inspiration to me and to my life. And as we are approaching Mother's Day, I thought it was so fitting for us to really get down to talking about that. Because a lot of times as women in leadership, we're forced to kind of choose between us women as mothers and us women as leaders. But the truth of the matter is you really can't have one without the other. We learned how to do what we do because of the examples that were shown to us and the experience that we get as mothers ourselves. And as a mother, raising another daughter and raising a son and having to be that example, I now realize that it probably wasn't as easy as I thought it was over the years. And so, Mom, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me. This is a privilege and an honor, and I'm so proud of you and the woman that you have become and yet to become. So, to God be the glory.
Thank you. Thank you. So, can you just share with us your experience as mother and leader in the household and the other things that you have done over the years and the influence that was shown to you that helped to develop you into the leader that you are today?
Absolutely. And let me first start saying that it was such an honor to be your mother. And I embraced it. One of the things that helped me, and yes, I am pastor, and I've walked in the roles of evangelist as assistant pastor to my mother, who was very strong, your grandmother, and that realizing that I needed to model first. And so I embraced Proverbs 31 woman. And when I read those scriptures and how she conducted her household, I developed those traits within our household. Because being a single parent, yes, a lot was on my shoulders, but quitting was not an option. And that's what I instilled in you from birth all the way to now. Quitting is not an option. And then my role as a parent, as the Bible says, to train. So I made sure that you were going to be educated. And I would say, give me the book when you come home from school. And so I continued what the teachers taught you, but I wanted to be involved, not living my life through you, but making sure that you were going to fulfill the purpose that God had placed on your life. And the only way we would know that is to walk it out. So my job was to walk with you, but to model it too. So I went back to school so that you would not have an excuse and say, well, as a single parent, I'm not going to succeed. No, I made sure that you were going to succeed. So giving up time, that wasn't easy. I would be the first up and the last to go to bed. I was the one checking the homework. I had to make sure that you were ready and prepared for success. So I could not just do what I wanted to do, and I still did. So let me qualify that. I still did what God called me to do. And I worked in the ministry, loved doing evangelism, loved meeting people, loving people. But the first priority outside of God was to make sure you were prepared and that you knew those traits that would succeed or propel you to your next. So we did a lot of praying. I had to correct when I needed to correct, but you were a good child, so I didn't have to do but so much. So thank God for giving me a good child. But it was also trying to make sure that you understood that you were not an accident, you were not half, that as a strong woman, I was teaching you to be strong and to appreciate who you are and what God had designed for your life. So whatever it was, and yes, you had a lot of likes from wanting to play the piano, wanting to be an artist, you wanted to be a fashion designer, but it didn't matter. Whatever it was, my job as your parent was to make sure that I cultivated, educated, and pushed you to your next. Now, gentle push, not harsh, not manipulating, not trying to control, because it was allowing you to thrive and grow right where you were. And I believe, I know God did it. He had his hand upon you. And that was another piece to teach you spiritually, teach you how to walk that walk, not playing church, but becoming the church of the living God. So it was true example in our household. And of course, we had mom, grandmother, the late Dr. Martha M. Anderson, and how she was strong and she taught never give up, never quit. And she would find ways to make even the most hardest things simple. And her work ethics, of course, working at Lewis Scale for 35 years and coming up through the ranks, especially during a time when color was an issue. But she went beyond all those barriers. And watching her, that instilled in me that nothing in this life can stop you except you. So, yes, I was going to be right there to walk life out with you. And it was a joy. So when I see you blossoming, when I see you excelling, when sitting on this podcast, this is such an honor. So it is, I'm glad every sacrifice I made, yes, I put you first. I make sure you had, and you had more than some people who had 2, 3 parents. But that was a joy of mine because one, you didn't ask to be born. And then 2, God gave me a great responsibility. And that was to raise up a wonderful, beautiful woman, but a warrior as well. And you know how to pray because we prayed. You know the word because I taught you that. And we walked it out. So look at you now. And I am a recipient of all the moments and all the times and the blessing that God put in my life. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. And I think that a lot of the things that you just said are the marks of true leadership. A good leader is going to be concerned about those in which they that they govern. They're going to be concerned about making sure that everyone is getting what they need, that they are growing, and that their gifts are being cultivated. Yes. And I think that is so important. I think motherhood a lot of times is kind of downplayed, especially in a society that uplifts the roles of men, especially when it comes to the area of leadership. And a lot of times just the idea of being maternal and taking care of others seems to be kind of seen as a weakness. Yes. I think that it's powerful for us to uplift that without those traits, even the men that rise up could not exist. They could not do what they do. They would not get to the place where they need to be. And so that is so important for us to continue to uplift and highlight. And even in my own journey in motherhood, thinking about the importance of, for one, bringing those gifts out of my own children. But when I step into a leadership spaces, understanding that those traits that were naturally placed on the inside of me over years of my gifts being cultivated are not a weakness. Yeah. And I should not have to hide or suppress that maternal side of me, that natural leadership that has been cultivated in me since young childhood, in order to make someone else feel comfortable.
I agree. And oftentimes that is the case. But even in working, going into the workforce, those traits cause me to even work harder. And oftentimes we as women have to double down on what the men can do. Mm-hmm. But it was like, it was okay. because I still wanted to set the precedent that whether in the workforce or in the home, you will go still excel. You won't still be blessed. You won't still have, and that you would learn how to deal with those counterparts. Oftentimes, it's that quiet teaching that we don't even realize how more effective and important that is. So it's not always saying A, B, C, D, this is what you do. It is just teaching and pushing and still showing you that no matter what, on the job, in the church, in the home, in any Walmart, any mart, you could still rise above and instilling integrity and work ethics in you, that yes, they're going to try. There are times and there's different oppositions that will try to keep you down, but we don't stop. We don't, sometimes you may have to back up and you may have to rethink, reload, as they say, but you still come out knowing who you are. Be confident with who you are. We can't change our gender. Be proud of being a woman, because women bring things to the table that a man may miss. But that's why God wanted it to be balanced. Men bring certain things, women bring certain things. But when we put it all together and honor each other, support each other. So I thank God, and it works. It produces better people in society. And I used to often tell you that I'm creating you to be a wonderful citizen, that whoever should get you, whomever paths you come across, that they'll be able to say, her mom taught her well. They raised her well. So it's not so much as, yes, we want integrity. We want you to have wonderful traits as a human being, respecting. Because that was one thing, taught you to respect, to honor. But at the same time, realize who you are. And you go forth doing you unapologetically. You're strong. You're fierce. You're a warrior. And you don't back up for anyone. Now, respectfully, do what you've been called to do, but stand strong. And the very God, which is part of your teaching, if he's for you, he's more than the whole world against you. So it's unfortunate when our counterparts, they want to, they cannot see or understand that we can be a mother, we can be a wonderful worker, and we can go forth and run our own companies.
Yes.
We can bring the bacon to the table. And it does not. We're not discounting. We're not putting down any men, because I thank God for the men. But as the women, and then as a single parent, I had to know I could do this. And I wanted to show you that you could do it. Not using any excuses, not walking through life crippled or blaming anyone. No. We love, we forgive, we keep going. But we show them what we're made of. And you're made of good stock.
Absolutely. That was so well said. And I think it just goes back to the idea that leaders lead. And so whether it starts, as from motherhood or childhood or whatever the case may be, when you are in that position of leadership, you step up. And women have had to step up historically for years in so many different ways. And as you point out, coming out from a single parent perspective, and I have been a single parent before, and thank God, we're both happily married now. But that the bottom line of it is that as a leader, leaders lead. And so we do the work that we have to do, and we do it well. And even though, there have been times that our just being our feminine selves, right? Our being women, being, gentle and soft at times has been seen as a weakness, but actually it is a strength, because we are able to create environments for people that focus on the human side. And what studies have shown is that that's what keeps people coming back to work every day. People don't want to be treated like robots or numbers or discredited or even made to feel like they're not humans. And so what women bring to the table in all areas of industry is that our ability to empathize with people and to, have that maternal instinct and to see people as people. Actually creates more, revenue. It creates more success. As you said, women business owners right now are booming. And the reason why is because the environments that are being created are the types of environments that people want to work in. And so, you brought out a lot of that. And that starts with that maternal side, whether you have children or not. Someone has shown you how to interact and how to move and navigate these spaces where you can uplift and motivate, which a lot of what you said, even about, and I can definitely credit that. You, as my mother, have always been such a great motivator. And that is what is needed in the workforce. People need to be motivated and want to be excited about working. And that happens when we see them as humans and not as a number. And so I just thank you so, so very much for your time. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to talk to you, but also to learn from you over the years. I know that I am the mother that I am today because of you. I also know that I'm the leader that I am today because of you. And, for anybody who I've ever had the privilege of overseeing or leading, I hope that they honestly feel that as well as they listen to this, to say, oh yeah, I get it. I get it. When she had that type of leadership, yes, that she models that each and every day. And I want to, as you said, I'm not done. I'm still evolving and growing as a leader, but I think it's so important that we took out the time to uplift and let other female leaders know it's okay to be your authentic self, to show up with confidence in your own skin, and not to be ashamed of motherhood, not to be ashamed of the times that you may need to tend to needs that other people might not understand. Exactly. But when you take out the time to take care of you and family and understand that balance, it benefits everybody. Yes. And so, this is the first podcast of many, and I'm so very honored that you were able to join me for this first one, and we hope to see you again in the future. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.